Hey, Dan Passarelli here. Well, the market was off today, 0.8%, with the SPY closing at 660.08. That is a little bit of a continuation of the route we have been talking about and been expecting for a while. This is the second day closing under the 50-day moving average, which probably indicates it's more likely for follow through to the downside than to the upside. But I did the calculation by hand earlier today. The market's down about 4% from its high. So it's not really any big sort of massive move. We're not in correction territory or anything by any stretch of the imagination at this point. So, is there anything to worry about? Well, one thing that I pointed out yesterday, was it? Yeah, yesterday, is that we're going to have our first look at unemployment figures, and it's a look back, and then we're not going to see the October ones, but at least getting more of a glimpse than we had is probably going to be kind of a big deal. But another even bigger deal is that tomorrow after the close, Nvidia has earnings to be announced, NVDA. Now, Nvidia has already had quite a bit of a pullback thus far. But here's the thing. Nvidia chips have been massively in demand, but there's the things with China. Can they sell chips to China, the advanced chips, or can't they? Has that so far hurt their bottom line? What will they say during the conference call about how that might affect their bottom line? Nvidia makes up 7.5% of the S&P 500. Yes, there's 500 stocks. You would think each one would represent 1/500th of the index, but no. Nvidia is massively overweighted, making up 7.5% of that index because it's a market cap weighted index. Now, speaking of market cap, Nvidia itself has a market cap of $4.41 trillion at this point. It typically experiences price swings of anywhere between about 0.5% on the opening gap from the close before earnings to the open after earnings. Last quarter was 0.4%. And within the last 3 years, it moved 11%. And kind of everything in between. Sort of a typical opening gap is maybe 3 to 3.5, probably about 3.5%, just eyeballing it, looking at my numbers here on the other screen. The implied volatility, which of course is always wrong for those of you who trade total earnings domination, it's always wrong to some degree. But that's pricing in a 6% move at this point. A 6% move, that comes out to, I have this on my other calculator, about a $265 billion swing just in Nvidia alone. And that's not counting market sympathy, especially all the other AI stocks. Not tomorrow, but Thursday, when this perfect storm of brand new employment data and Nvidia's earnings and conference call all coalesce, then we could have some pretty serious volatility on Thursday. Now, could be good volatility to the upside, could be bad volatility to the downside, but we are definitely set up for the potential for a pretty big move. I hope that helps. This is Dan Passarelli. Trade smart.